I wish I were crafty enough for a long con. I am not. But the stars did feel like they aligned, you know, in a really kind of like, wow, I couldn't have managed that way. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I felt really, really blessed to have it all kind of come together. I'm a both and kind of girl when it comes to binging. Like, I've done my share of binging, and I've also enjoyed the delayed gratification that I'm forced into, because delayed gratification is like good for your brain. It's just good for you. So I know it's like taking your veggies, you know? So, but you're doing something really, really good, but you're also like, oh, but I'm training my brain to like wait. So I'm a both and, you know. I know better, because I tried to beg for spoilers for, I don't know, probably This Is Us, and he's like, no, I'm telling you nothing. He knew how This Is Us was going to end when he signed up, when he first was like, you know, in it, like, yes, I'm your guy. He knew how it was going to end, and I did not find out until the rest of the world. I truly loved the show, and I hope that my love for the show and the way I like to watch the show and the questions that I ask match up with the rest of the fandom, you know, because I'm a true fan, but I just hope that I do the fandom proud. Yeah. I interview Jess Rosenthal, who's one of the producers, who, you know, was very high level behind the scenes, like putting his arms around the whole thing. And then there's Dan, who gets in the weeds. I talked to 4 writers, together, because there were 2 writers on 2 of the episodes, so 4 total, but 2 episodes. So you get that kind of like granular in the weeds of it, and then you get the actor's point of view, and you know, Sterling is an actor and a producer, and then we talked to the guys who we talked to one of this professor. He's like 8 feet tall. He's really tall. I thought I always am shocked at how short I am when I'm around tall people, and he was great because he's a professor. And Dan went to saw one of his TED Talks, and that's kind of how a lot of this got started. And then there was the bunker. He's not the bunker. It's not fair to call him the bunker guy. He's a really, really smart guy. Douglas Rushkoff, I believe I'm pronouncing his name right, and saying it right. And he wrote Survival of the Richest, which is, it's just, again, you're going to get a 360 view of how this world comes together and all of the different pieces, and how there's no piece that's more or less important than the other piece. But I will tell you, I was the most intimidated by Julianne Nicholson. She's such a great actor, and like, she's just like up there for me on like the Mount Rushmore of actresses and actors. And so that I was the most intimidated to talk to her. And all of them, really, they're all so great, but like, and I think it's because of who she plays. Yeah. So it's not just her as an actress, but it's who she plays. It's Sinatra. Mm-hmm. So I was very intimidated. Initially I was a little bit lukewarm about doing the podcast, because I was like, there's no way. Like, I mean, yes, Dan's a genius, sure. He's got great writers, sure, but it's not gonna be as good as season 1. It'll still be great, because like, you can't top perfection. You can't match perfection. So I was like, oh, I mean, bless your hearts, you're gonna try. Like, I honestly, and I was saying this to myself, like, you know, I'm just gonna get with the Rudy Poo, you know, sophomore slump season. I was wrong. Not only was I wrong, but I was I was like so wrong, like so very wrong, because they take the football, they score the touchdown, they keep running. It's like Forrest Gump, like, you know what I mean? Like, they keep running, they go to another game, invent a whole nother game with the football, and then punt the football into the stratosphere. Like, that's the best way to describe it. It's incredible. It's incredible. And I don't know how you do that. Like, I don't know how you create like almost a perfect season of television in season 1, and then take it apart, and then take the pieces and put them back together in an even more, or just as interesting. I don't know how it's done. I really don't. I kept asking that question, and they're all so humble, and I'm just like, oh, so you're not gonna tell us? Okay, fine. I can say that everything comes together at the end. It's not a bow, because there's nothing bowish about this, but it does get tied up with sort of maybe rawhide. And then they're like, we're gonna give you maybe 4 seconds to process that, but get ready, because we're going to a whole section of the grocery store. Don't know where the grocery store analogy came from. So you might want to scratch that. But yeah, two things. I think I called her my Shayla. Like we were when we were putting the podcast together, I was like, when I first saw it, I was like, my Shayla, my Shay Shay, my Shay Shay. I was calling her Shay Shay, but and we had, season 1 I have Jamarius, and season 2 is my Shay Shay, and just her storyline, like I kind of want to tear up because it was just so beautiful. And in and of itself, it was like its own thing that it could have stopped right there. Like it was so lovely that it literally could have stopped right there, and could have been the end. And like, well, we will never know what happens, but wow, what a ride. So that was really something. And because of how the character truly has to claw her way back to her own self. Yeah. And it's amazing that like, you can spend your whole life and it takes the end of the world for you to find yourself, It was just it just touched me in so many ways. And then at the same time, we get how Xavier and his wife fall in love. And watching Xavier and Terry and their just truly epic love story, and seeing that whole thing get its fullness. A lot of times, you see certain actresses. I've known Anuka for a very long time, the actress who plays Terry, and we've been auditioning together for I'm not going to say how many years, but for a long time, and to see her finally get just such a great role, but then to like be able to live in it, like I'm so happy for her. And I know that that's something we've all been, like in our little cohort, have been wanting for and praying for and desiring and manifesting and holding space for, and all of the things. And to see her get it, and to see her get it in such a beautiful way was really, again, on a lot of levels, touching. Would that I had that level of, what I'd love to do, darlings. Oh, just go write me something. Oh yes, darlings, that's fabulous, darling. No, we're not there. We are not there. Dan wrote that character knowing how he wanted to reveal Jane, and it just so happened that it fell in the right, not genre, but the right sort of character descriptions for me. Yeah. And it kind of just fit like that. I think they knew they wanted someone who could be a mentor of sorts to Jane, so it had, it all kind of worked out. And I think an actress like myself, why it fits so well is because I think it needed to be someone who could play, or not play, but someone who could come across as very sort of grounded. So you think Jane gets something that you think Jane could use to maybe change the trajectory, but we don't. I can say that, because we see who Jane is, so that's not a spoiler. Yeah. So I think that the important thing about my character is that you think maybe it's something that could have helped her. But it doesn't. But you also see in her whole episode 6 is all about Jane, you see why it would have taken far more than my character, even though there is so much love and so much grace and so much true, I see her, like I really see Jane, my character. So I think that's what it was. I think that there were so many pieces that needed to be a part of the character. It just so happened that I could bring all of that, and it all worked out. Yeah. So no, I loved it. I loved it so much. I loved it so much because it was juicy. It was so on brand for Jane. And it's so wild. And I've never played anything like, I can honestly say no one has ever in real life or on screen gifted me anything quite like that before. So it's a spoiler of sorts. They absolutely land the plane, and then they quickly usher us into a helicopter. So I mean, I do think that that's the genius about the show, right? It's like, how do you write a show where you keep people guessing, but you keep them hooked enough, right? I could write the most cerebral, or maybe not, but one could theoretically write a very cerebral something where you're 5 steps ahead, and someone, those, and then it's silent for 20 minutes, and then it's like, see you. And then it's silent for, who, right? But in your mind, you're like, oh, you don't even know. Like, there's Easter eggs. It's like, yes, what's going on? Right? Or you could write something where you're spoon feeding the whole audience. And I just think it's so hard to strike that balance between knowing but not knowing, guessing right, guessing wrong. But you it truly is keeping the audience on the edge of its seat. You don't want to fall over, and you don't want to fall back asleep because you're bored. You want to just stay. And there's nothing worse than investing and not getting just enough of a payoff. Right. So the way that they balance it, and the way that I also think that there's so much care that every writer, every producer, everybody has so much care for the show, and care for their characters, and care for the writing, so that it's well cared for. And in that, the audience is very well taken care of. So I think everyone is going to be very satisfied, but also left wanting so much more, because we go in this whole I can say that we go in a whole sci-fi. Ooh, me, and then and then yes, or just like statues in the back, right? Like time, space, continuum. That's me. Like every so often, just time, space, continuum. People are like, this show is totally. It's not Jump the Shark. It's Jump the Ryan. Okay, so other than me, and me, all of those like sci-fi people that to like pepper it in, wouldn't be cool to have like David Duchovny. Stephen Williams would be great. Like, who would be wonderful? And Sterling, I can say this. Sterling has a crush on like 3 people, and I'm going to say them in order, and then the last one is the one that I think should come on the show. Well, all of them should come on the show. Meryl Streep. He would totally push me off a barge for Meryl Streep. Brad Pitt. He would push me out of a helicopter. Maybe not too far off the ground for Brad, but Meryl, I'm toast. Brad, I might end up with a broken limb or 2. And then the final one is Joshua Jackson. Yes. And he would be a great guest star, especially because he's also been in the sci-fi, but and Sterling just loves that man to pieces. Like he's a Dawson's Creek fiend. And a lot of people don't know that about Sterling, because he doesn't really maybe fit but like when we were in college, like he would just be walking down the hall, I don't want to wear like, Sterling, what are you doing? He's like, Dawson's Creek, I gotta see Joey and Pacey, man. He loved the song, he loved the show, like cried every episode. So that would be great. I am such a fan of Ryan Murphy. I'm such a fan of his mind. I wouldn't want to go into his mind alone. I think I would need like a support animal because it's probably like amazing and wonderful and scary a little bit. I think all of our minds are. But I love how he's been able to share so many parts of his psyche and his imagination with the world, and like with such fearlessness that it makes me, I'm in awe of that, and it inspires me like in my life to have that level of fearlessness. So I mean, listen, I'd want to be on Beauty, like anything. Anything Ryan Murphy, I would love to be a part of and love to be in. He creates incredible worlds, and if I come back to All's Fair, that would be great. There's so many things like, I just saw The Rip with Matt Damon and Ben Affleck, and I was like, that's something I've never really been able to do. I'd love to do that kind of like. I don't even know what they're called. What is that genre even called? They're not thrillers. They're not psychological thrillers. They're more like cop thriller. I like Reacher. I just like saying Reacher.
Reacher also.
Oh, he's huge. He's like a Sasquatch. I'd love to be in Reacher. Like I want a scene where I'm like running and I'm looking this way and I run smack into him. Like that's all I want in life. I just want to run into him and be like, Reacher, black. And then there I am like, Reacher, huh? You don't look, Reacher. He's like, how do you know my name? Look, don't even worry about it. But Reacher, look, somebody done got a baby. They stole the baby. I saw the mama run that. We gonna have to find this baby, Reacher. That would be. I just love that show and I love that guy. I think he's phenomenal. So yeah. So all the things. So let's all manifest together. Let's all manifest together.